Hey everyone, I'm Anastasia, and I am the founder of Inkwell Games. And I'm really excited today. We have a guest solve with our friend Grant here. We've heard from a lot of you that you need help with weekend stars puzzles. The Saturday and Sunday ones are pretty gnarly and have been tripping some folks up lately. Grant has been kind enough to both, in the past 2 weeks, share some screenshots and some solve alongs in our Inkwell Insiders Facebook group. And so we actually invited him to do a live solve today. So, Grant, thank you so much for being with us, and I'll let you take it away.
All right. Well, thanks so much. All right, let's see here. All right. So, looking at it, first thing you kind of see is this region right down here. You can tell that you've got this little kind of L shape. It's mirrored on both sides, and you've got to block off both of these squares because if not, that's going to block this whole area out and would only leave one open square at the top, which would not allow you to have the full 2 stars that you'd need in this region. So we've got to block that off to start with. So then, kind of, if you look from there, you look around, and I don't immediately see anything else that has that same kind of requirement that if you don't block it off, it's going to cause you to only have one square open, or maybe 2 or 3 squares, but still something that can only hold a single star. So kind of look around, and for me, I can tell with this region, there's got to be something going on because you're going to wind up. It's such a small space. All these other chunks are still really, really big, and so I feel like you've got to have something kind of right in here. And so if you look, you can actually see that that you can't put 2 stars on the bottom down here. Because if you did, this is what would happen. You wind up with a star here. Whoop, let's not do that. You'd wind up with a star here, a star here, and that's going to stretch over. And of course, you can't have more than 2 stars in a row. And now you actually wind up seeing in this block right here that you'd only be able to put, you don't have that chunk of 2 that could only hold a single star. So that is going to be something that we're not able to do. So let's just undo and back all that out. And then, so that tells me that we can't have 2 stars here or 2 stars here because they're mirrored. They're going to have the same rule, which means that you can't have a star. You can't block off these. So that means you've got to protect this column. So that's going to be here and here. And you've got to protect this column. So that's going to be there and there. So that kind of gives you a little bit more to work with, but still not a ton. So the next thing though is that because we've said you can't have 2 stars down here because it blocks it off, you're also going to have to look at this because you've got to be able to see if you put a star here, you're only going to be able to put 1 star in this top section for both of these regions because otherwise you've got the same problem. If you tried to put 2 stars here, now it's going to block that off, and you'd be back to, oh, well, we've got 2 stars. It causes the same set of problems. So if you can only have 1 star in each of these, that means you also have 1 star in each of these. But if you've got one here and you've got one here, well, that's 2. So we know you have to block off those squares to block off that bottom row. Even though we don't know where the star here is yet, we at least know, let's say one star is going to be in this row somewhere, one star in this row somewhere. So then the next thing you can kind of do, now you've got, if you look at this region, now we see another spot where you've got this little chunk of 3, and then you've got this chunk of 4 up here. And so we can tell we can't put a star there because you'd block this off and you'd have that region of 3 that can only hold a single star. And now this region comes out nice. You've just got the little 4, and whenever you see that little L shape, you have to block that off. Your 1 star is going to go here.
Our first star.
Then, right, finally.
It's always exciting. Some of these Saturday and Sundays, you can get pretty far without a first star.
Oh, absolutely. I think the other week I had one where I had X's all over the board in every region, and I'm still going, when am I going to finally be able to put a star in here?
It's like, pretty funny.
So now that we've got
sorry to interrupt you. That was a great,
no.
Great explanation, and I'm excited to see a first star on the board.
Right. So let's see. So now we've got this chunk of 2. And again, this is one of those kind of common logic steps that whenever you've got that, you have to block off either side of it to protect it, to keep that from getting filled in. So now you've got this region that you've got a spot here and here. So you're going to get our second star, right? And then we can block off that. So we're protecting that. And now we come over, and now this region's kind of starting to open up. We've got a lot of X's in there. We've got 1 here. We can put another star in. And then the 2 right here that we're going to protect. So now we're looking pretty good, but we've kind of got a weird little setup here. You've got, well, we know 1 in one of those 2 spots, 1 in one of those 2 spots, 1 in one of these 2 spots. So then we can kind of move along a little bit. And
can I interrupt, Grant?
Absolutely.
I actually see one more star we can place in that
bottom
right. row. Yeah, we know that it can't be the bottom because that second. Exactly.
Already has the, yep, you're right.
And I had the benefit of just getting to watch. Nice. Which tells us a little more over there.
Because now we've got this stretch right here, so we know 2 stars have to go in that row somewhere. So now we've got this 3rd row right here. We've only got 1 spot left open, so that's got to be a star. So that forms that around. And now, again, here, that's the last spot left in this row. So that's got to be a star. And, oddly enough, because of the way this region is so weird, that's actually our 2 stars in that region. So now we can X out the rest of this. So it's always fun when, like, say, you've got these spots that just kind of open up. You get 1 star, and it kind of starts. It's almost like a domino effect. Like one hits, and then you start Xing, and you don't really have to do a whole lot of logic for the next one because it's just, oh, well, now I'm just left with 1 spot where it can go.
Yeah, you've already done the logic, and it's this domino waterfall effect. But what's fun is some puzzles will domino to the end, and some puzzles will domino into like a brick wall. And then you'll be stuck once more.
Right. So, all right, we got 1 more here that can finish out. And then now there's 2 different little spots here you can see. So you've got 1 piece of logic right here, tells you across this row right here, you've got 2 open squares on this side, two open squares on this side. So that's going to be star 1 and star 2 of the row. So we can protect that section there. And then by the same token, you look at this whole region right here. We've already X'd out all this down here at the bottom. And you've just got these 4 left right here. And so this is basically 2 of those little 2 square chunks side by side. So this one's already protected. We can protect that as well. And we also know that if we have to have 1 here and 1 here, that's 2 for this whole row. So we can block that off. And now you've got this region that, again, we've already X'd out all this down here. And all we've got left is 4 open squares. So
I think I'm going to call that region our giraffe shape. We don't see that shape often, but I think it looks a little like a giraffe.
I think you're right. I see it. We got the legs and the long neck and the head.
Well,
so
yeah, romantic giraffes here.
All right. So let's see. We block that out. And we can block these 2 off to protect the last 2 in there. And now let's see. We've got some other kind of cleanup to do. You can see this column right here. We've now got 2 stars in, so we can go on and X out the rest of it. And that lets us know from this 2-block chunk, if we can't have it there, it's got to be here. So that does that. Clean up, close out the rest of that column, and that's our last spot in a. You said giraffe looks. See, this one it's got the eyes.
You're right. It does. The other one's got fancy shoes on.
Oh, so let's see. Got a little bit more kind of cleanup we can do again, because this one's already complete. See, this one still needs 1. That's complete. That's complete. That one's complete. All right, and then this row is now complete. So we can cross off the rest of that. So now we've got the row below here. We've only got 3 left open, a 2 and a 1. We can put 1 there, and we know that's got to be our other one in that row. And then this region here, we've only got 3 spots left. One's going to be there. One's going to be in one of those 2. But because of that, we know that's all in that top row. So 1 and 2. So we can go in and mark out the rest of that top row. And obviously finish off blocking around that star. And that leaves us with there. You've got here and that spot in that region. So that clears that out. Here you got that and here left in that region. So that's going to clean that up. We've got 1 left there. We've got 1 left right there. Let's see. Now you're left with here, which now we've completed. We got 1 and 2. We'll block that. And there's that star. That's 1 and 2 there. So there's our star. 1 and 2 there. And there's our star. And 1, 2. Block it off. And there is our last one.
Fabulous. That's a Saturday puzzle that I think you just made look like a Tuesday or Wednesday, Grant.
Oh.
This was wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing how you approach one of the harder puzzles, even if you did make it look easy. And for everyone who's out there who's watching this, if you get stuck on a puzzle, feel free to send it in. We're happy to do a solve video on YouTube. And also join our Inkwell Insiders Facebook group, where we have a whole group of people who are all eager to help when people get stuck on puzzles and compare solving strategies. So thank you all so much and hope you have fun solving.